How's it going, guys? Shape here, and welcome to the channel. This video is going to cover how much gold I made this past week with the launch of the Shadowlands expansion, just focusing on material farms. I recorded the data in a Google Sheet so I would be able to easily show you guys the breakdown of all my farming techniques and the amount of time that went into this. I also was curious and wanted to see how much gold I could make in the first week of the launch with just material farms, because it is considered one of the best ways to make gold off expansion launches, and man, it didn't disappoint. I am also going to break down the actual farms I did for the different methods on this list and show you guys how to do it too. So with that said, let's hop into it and find out what those methods are. Be sure to turn on your notifications, make sure you have that bell rung, and drop a like so you don't miss any of my future content. First off, I wanted to show you guys the breakdown of my gold earned over the last week. As you can see, I've broken down the categories into all the new herbing and skinning materials. I made a video before saying that gathering was going to be huge at the beginning of the expansion, and I wanted to show you guys that I really meant it. Besides leveling and gearing my character some, I committed 100% to these material farms. The actual farms are in the previous two videos I posted, and in case you guys missed those, here are the links to the herbing and skinning videos. One side note on the skinning video is the first farm actually was just nerfed yesterday, so you'll have to go with the other options to farm now. Over the last week for my herbs, I sold 2,628 Rising Glory, 2,061 Vigil's Touch, 1,937 Marrow Root, 1,120 Widow's Bloom, 3,013 Death Blossoms, and 788 Nightshades. For my leather, I sold 56,087 Desolate Leather, 2,737 Heavy Desolate Leather, 5,581 Callous Hide, and 273 Heavy Callous Hides. All of these materials sold for a grand total of 3,280,374 gold. The price column is the average price of all of my sold goods. I didn't want to make this sheet extra complicated and show you every single sale for the item if it was a different price, but you guys get the picture. The farm time total column is how many hours I did the specific farm for. I think it is important to diversify the market as best you can, so I spent 5 hours in each of the zones farming the different herbs. Since Death Blossom and Nightshade are random spawns in every zone, I didn't include those totals, and they are included in the time I spent in the other zones. That's a total of 20 hours this past week just farming herbs. If you guys are unfamiliar with which zones has which herbs, then I will quickly break it down for you. Rising Glory is in Bastion, Vigil's Touch is in Ardenweald, Marrow Root is in Maldraxxus, and Widow's Blossom is in Rivendreth. As I mentioned earlier, Death Blossom and Nightshade are rare spawns in any of these zones, and Nightshade can also spawn in them all. For the routes I used, just check out that herbalism video I linked earlier. For the skinning portion of this chart, I spent a total of 28 hours skinning and killing mobs this past week. Since all the leather can drop from the mobs, this is why the total is 28 hours for each. It is not 28 times 4, just 28 overall hours. Same as herbalism, if you are interested in learning more about the skinning spots, check out that video. Now, that brings us to our grand total of 3,280,374 gold. With 20 hours in herbalism and 28 in skinning, that brings us to our weekly total of 48 hours of farming. Divide that by 7 and that will give you a little over 6.5 hours of farming each day. It sounds like a lot, and it was a lot, but I did have time off to dedicate myself to this and see how much gold I can make at the launch just off material farming. Now for the more exciting part of the video and how you guys can make an insane amount of gold as well. I'm sure a lot of you are going to say, well, those prices were elevated because it was launched and there's no way you can still make the same profits anymore. Well, what if I told you were wrong? Here's another sheet with the current US sales price for the materials I just listed. As you can see, some of these prices have come down, and that is expected as more and more players level. They will start to farm as well for some gold, and that's okay. For the most part, the prices have stabilized for now, and some have even gone up. With everyone trying to craft their legendaries this week and the ungodly amount of materials it takes for crafters to learn the different ranks, the prices are actually going up for some of the more rare materials. For instance, Callous Hide and Heavy Callous Hide are almost double with what my average price was this past week. That means if you change the price, keep the same amount sold, and have a spare 6.5 hours a day to farm, then you could actually make a little over 3.7 million gold. I know a lot of players had time off last week, so we're going to be a little more reasonable with how much time you can farm, but even if we cut that in half to 3.5 hours, it is still a little over 1.8 million gold. I know I said I like to diversify the market, but my plan is to stick to the skinning side of things because in the end that is going to be more profitable right now with the rare materials selling really high. If you spend all of your time on the skinning side and cut out the hours spent on the herbing side, then you can actually make more gold in the end. I don't believe we have to worry about anything or there's any chance you would hit a wall with the market and there not being a demand because, as I mentioned earlier, the amount of materials needed for the profession and ranks for the legendaries is crazy. Overall, with all the methods listed on my list, you can pick and choose which ones you would like to prioritize so you too can make millions of gold while the market is hot. I can't promise the prices will stay like this forever, so go out, turn on some music or TV shows, and farm some materials. Well, there you have it guys, my methods on how I made over 3 million gold in the first week of Shadowlands. I hope you guys enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe and drop a like if you enjoyed the video to show some love for the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.